What's her face? Where'd she go?
Good. How are you? Danielle Sexton.
Yeah, where'd she go?
She's right there.
Oh, Danielle. Danielle's going to give a little talk before we get started about election. And before she gets here, I want you to know they each have a 3-minute introduction on who they are, what they stand for. And then we're going to have 4 questions that were decided beforehand. Okay, and each person has a minute and a half to answer that question. And then we have over here, hopefully, if you got questions, fill out a card, please, and put it in there, and we'll go through those. And we'll have 4 more questions after a 10-minute break. Does any of that make sense?
We're going to sort through.
Good. I guess that's yeah. So Danielle, here she is.
Thank you very much to Cindy and the Big Pine Civic Club for getting this together and letting us have a chance to meet our amazing candidates. I've had the honor of working with them and getting them through the process of being candidates, so this is exciting to see them in action. I wanted to give a few-minute quick update on key election dates to start with. Voter guides will be going to be mailed out next week to all active registered voters. They are already on our website as of this week. So if you're looking for candidate statements, ballot samples, and all the information you need to know about what went into this election, those are on our website, and you should receive them in the mail soon, including a separate guide from the state. So our local guide is for local elections, and then all of the state candidates will be on the state election. There are 61 governor candidates on this ballot. So it's a very long ballot, but it is one card, double-sided. So those will be mailed out May 4th. So if you're a Star Wars nerd, you can remember the date they were mailed out because it's May 4th. And the election obviously is on June 2nd. Now with the election on June 2nd, this is actually one of our voting locations. So we need more election workers. We have all of our forms in, and we need about 3 to 4 people per polling place. We have 2 polling places in Bishop this year, and actually Lone Pine is the only one that doesn't need anybody this year. So Lone Pine turned out, and we need a few more in Independence. So if you're interested, or if you know anybody else is interested, I do have poll worker flyers, election worker flyers on the back counter. Please take one with you, or if you know somebody that might be interested, please give it to them. My business card is back there, and so is voter registration cards. So if you I'm assuming everybody here is a registered voter, but if you know anybody that needs to register or pre-register, kids up to 16 years of age, students can register to vote, and they will be automatically made a voter when they turn 18. So it's pre-registration for 16 to 17-year-olds. So take voter registration cards with you. You can just have them. And lastly is my biggest emphasis is turnout. Primary elections usually only get about 50 to maybe 60% of a turnout, which is extremely low for Inyo County. We're up in the 75 to 80% turnout for general elections, and like half the people just don't participate in the primary because they think, well, I'll get it in the general. This is just the primary. This is just the preliminary first step. That is absolutely not true for local elections. These candidates will not be on the November ballot. So get your friends to vote, get your family, your neighbors, make sure we get a high turnout for our primary elections, because while state candidates do have the top 2 going to November, that is not true for local contests. I'm okay.
Wow. Thank you, Danielle. All right, guys, welcome to the Inyo County Superior Court Judge Candidate Forum. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to do a bit of an opening where we do intros. They're going to tell you a little about themselves, their stances, and their views. Each candidate's going to get 3 minutes, and then I'm going to give a 15-second warning. Then we'll move on to the next candidate. After that, we'll be doing 4 predetermined questions, and then each candidate will get a chance to answer one of those questions first. And then after that, we're going to do a break, and then we're going to do audience questions. So if you want to write a question on one of those index cards over there, then we're going to sort through them all, and then we're going to ask all those questions after the break. So to start off, let's do our first introduction. Let's start with Gerard Harvey, right here.
Good evening. Do I right to stand, I assume, Mr. Mather?
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Not sure. Can you hear me without it?
Yeah.
In case anybody can't hear me, I got a big mouth. My name is Gerard Harvey. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've been practicing law here since 1995. I moved over here at the time with another candidate for judge down the end of the table there. And started practicing law here in 1995. I've been a lawyer for 5 years then. I've been here ever since. I'm a criminal defense attorney primarily. I've done some civil work. When I first came here, I did family law. I do custody work as well. I do primarily criminal defense work ranging from murder to traffic tickets. I handle juvenile matters, and I handle 300 dependency work, CPS work as well. And
Can everybody hear him?
Yeah.
Okay.
can you hear me, Sandy?
No.
All right. And I'm interested in being a judge because I've been here a long time. I think I'd be good at it. I bring a different perspective to the job than any of the three candidates to my left, because I am primarily a criminal defense attorney, all right? I'm not a wacko left-wing criminal defense attorney. Some may say otherwise. I'm a moderate criminal defense lawyer. I handle a lot of work in this county. Over the last 30 years since I've worked here, I handle most of the criminal cases in this county. On a weekly basis, I handle the majority of the criminal cases that are resolved or handled in this county every week for the last 5 years, and I did previously. I have raised a large family here. I grew up back east. I'm looking forward to staying here no matter what. I have enormous respect for my colleagues and for Mr. Place. He's a good judge. He's done a good job. I bring a different perspective to the job. It would be a different look. I'm not saying Steve has done a bad job by any perspective, by any stretch of the imagination. I think I could do a good job as well. I'm hoping to give him the chance to do it. Thanks.
Right, very nice. Okay, next is Stephen Place, Judge Place.
All right, I'll use the microphone. And if, with your permission, I'll remain seated. Is that okay? All right, thank you. My name is Stephen Place. I am currently a judge of the Inyo County Superior Court. I was appointed in 2018. I ran unopposed in 2020. I'm up for re-election this time, so this is a new experience for me. That's why I'm sitting here asking for your vote. As Mr. Harvey indicated, the two of us are running for seat 2. So on June 2nd, you will have the option of voting for Mr. Harvey or myself. My hope is that all of you do your due diligence and hard work. You determine for yourself who you believe is the right candidate based on who you think has the work ethic, the skill set, the demeanor, and the knowledge to do the job. And you vote on June 2nd for that person who you think is best suited for the job. I'll just indicate briefly why I'm asking for your vote, why I think that person is me. First, I've been a judge for 8 years. I think experience is huge. I think it's key, and I think it's a tremendous advantage to the county and everybody here to vote for somebody who has proven that he can do a good job over 8 years. I fully respect the election process. I think it's a good way to pick a judge, but I was appointed, and I just want to explain a little bit about the differences. And part of this is to tell you what I think you should be looking at and what you should be considering when you figure out who you want to vote for. When I was appointed, the application process was incredibly thorough. The application was a really tedious process where I had to explain in detail my entire career. I had to list all the judges I appeared in front of. I had to give 50 personal references, 50 professional references with contact information. So they could contact, the Jenny Commission could contact everybody that I listed as somebody who knew how well I did my work or not. I had to submit writing samples indicating that I was good at what I did, that I was a good advocate, I could communicate well, I could reason well, and do the job. And that was all before I got an interview. And then I went through 2 interviews and ultimately got the job. So as you sit here today, my hope is that you take your job that seriously and that you evaluate us that in that detailed a manner when you're picking who you think will do the best job. Since I've been a judge for 8 years, I don't have to sit here and tell you that I will be ready on day one, that I will do a good job on day one. I believe that I have done a good job from day one. I don't have to explain that to you. My demeanor is good. Knowledge of civil and criminal law, excellent. I've done 4 years in each, so I have the 8 years experience. Please vote for me.
Time. All right. Okay. Next is Taylor Fitzmaurice.
Yes. Hello. Welcome tonight. And my name is Taylor Fitzmaurice. I'm running for Inyo County Superior Court Judge.
Almost time. It's already on. You're good to go.
But can I, could you hear me without it?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, my name is Taylor Fitzmaurice, and I'm running for Inyo County Superior Court Judge because I believe our community deserves a court system that works, one that is fair, efficient, and accessible to all people that it serves. Every week, I stand in court representing individuals, families, and local businesses. I see firsthand how the delays in our court system impact real people. When cases drag on for months, and more often than not for years, it's not just an inconvenience. It's an emotional and financial burden on the very people that our court is meant to serve. And that is what has led me to run for judge. I believe that we can do better. While legal experience is important, what matters most on the bench is how that legal experience is applied, how a judge manages the courtroom, their work ethic, their legal knowledge, whether they're prepared, how the judge moves a case forward and treats the people that appears before them. I bring a practical, hands-on experience shaped by working directly with individuals and the families who are most affected by these delays. My professional background is rooted in real-world working courtroom experience. For 30 years, I have advocated for people from all walks of life. I have worked in large firms, medium-sized firms, and small firms. I've handled very complicated civil litigation matters, criminal cases. I worked as an assistant city attorney for 15 different cities, very complicated cases. I've represented local businesses, local families, and children. Over my time, I've developed not just experience, but judgment. How to listen, how to weigh evidence, how to make decisions carefully, and how to treat people fairly and with respect. I've been a part of this community for more than 2 decades. I've raised 3 children in Bishop. I built a practice in Bishop. I've experienced the generosity, support, and strength of this community. That connection matters to me, and that is why I have dedicated my career to giving back. If elected, my focus will be simple. Apply the law accurately and consistently. Treat every person fairly. Be prepared every day for every case. And ensure cases are handled thoughtfully and efficiently so people are not waiting for resolution. Justice shouldn't depend on how long someone can afford to wait. Thank you for attending tonight, and thank you for caring about our community.
All right. Next is Dana Crom.
Good evening. Thanks everybody for coming out there. I am Dana Crone. I have been an attorney for 35 years. We started my practice in San Francisco. As a native of Inyo County, I knew I was a small town girl and I wanted to come home. And so 30 years ago, I had the opportunity to return to Inyo County to practice what I call practicing law with a purpose. And that purpose being able to represent and assure that the community members that raised me were given the best legal representation that they could get. So I could give back to my community as a way. And that's what I've done for the past 30 years. I have represented the county as a deputy county counsel, various county districts. I have been in private practice where I have represented children, families, individuals, businesses. I've done pretty much every type of law that you can imagine. We often refer to it as door law. If it came through the door, you represented them. I also had a public defender contract where I was primarily responsible for juveniles. So children that are in the dependency system, parents in the dependency system, children in the juvenile justice system. I also represented parties in the family support court. Also, I was the attorney that represented individuals in mental health, conservatorship cases, kids and guardianship cases. The best cases I got to handle were adoptions. So it's probably the best day we've ever had in court is when we do an adoption. And I've handled those. I have also represented individuals in criminal cases, adult criminal cases. In 2014, I joined the Inyo County District Attorney's Office as a deputy DA. In 2025, I was appointed as the Inyo County District Attorney, and I am currently the Inyo County District Attorney. And as the Inyo County District Attorney, it was my job to review law enforcement reports and make determinations as to what criminal charges should be filed against individuals. And that requires me to analyze facts, law, and circumstances. And since I was appointed, the law changed, and I actually have to do that blindly. So I have to review law enforcement reports without any demographic information. I don't know who these people are, who the witnesses are. I don't even know the law enforcement agencies that have referred these cases. And I have to analyze it strictly on the facts and the law. And that is essentially what a judge needs to do. And so I want to take this 30 years of experience, the connections I have with the community, is something that is unique to me. And this is why I'm asking you to help me. Thank you.
Okay, so next we're going to move on to the predetermined questions. So we're going to start with one question, and then I have each candidate that gets that certain question first. So I think what we'll do is we will start with Stephen Place. We're going to start with you. First question. What are the biggest changes you think need to be made to the county's judicial system, if any at all? So one more time, what are the biggest changes you think need to be made to the county's judicial system, if any at all?
I hear that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and we're going to do 2 minutes for these questions. Minute and a half.
She's a judge here.
We're gonna do a minute and a half then. Okay, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Well, as a judge, I've obviously paid attention to what I've heard from the other candidates, what I hear from the public. I would be wrong if I said improvement can't be made. I'm not going to say that improvement can't be made. When I hear statements like the court system, it doesn't work or isn't functioning, that doesn't sit with me right either, because I am tremendously proud of the people that I work with. I think we do a great job in the county. Do I think improvements need to be made? I think, yes. I think efficiency is something that's important. As presiding judge for 5 years and judge now, we're always fighting against facility restraints, time constraints, staff restraints, but I think efficiency probably is the biggest one. Getting blocks of time where we can get cases handled sequentially so that there aren't big gaps of time between hearing dates, because I do think that is problematic. But once again, there's a lot of restraints, a lot behind the scene that needs to happen to make that change. But I think it is a change that is necessary.
Okay, so, and then to give everybody equal time between questions, I'm just going to move this way. So, Taylor, if you would please go ahead.
Same question.
Same question.
Can you repeat the question?
I sure will. What are the biggest changes you think need to be made to the county's judicial system, if any at all? Whenever you're ready.
Well, I think I've made that clear in my my arguments, or why I'm running for election. Efficiency is a problem, but it it isn't just efficiency. It's having judges with knowledge and experience and be able to apply that knowledge. I think if a court is organized, prepared, and has the knowledge, they can move the case efficiently. I think we need to maximize the resources we have. We should be using both courts, independents and bishop, more thoroughly. They have too many dark days in different courts. I think if we had the courts where the judges were doing criminal and civil both together and working as many days as possible in both courtrooms to move cases through, it would create greater opportunity to have open days on other Thursdays or Fridays to have hearings. I do cases that take 2 years, custody cases that take 2 years to litigate. We start with children who are 8 months old, they're almost 3 by the end. That's not okay. I do domestic violence cases that take 19 months to resolve. That's not okay. And it's because we can't get the time in the court. I get a day in June, I get a day in August. It's not enough. We have to have structural change in order to serve our community better.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, next, Dana.
I have to echo what Ms. Morris just said, that the court does need, I think, to start on time and handle cases in an expeditious manner. You have to do so, of course, still allowing the litigants to be heard. And you have to make decisions timely. I think the biggest change that I see that the court needs is we do need to make some calendaring changes. But one of the reasons we need to make calendaring changes is right now we have calendars that kind of prevent lawyers from practicing both criminal and civil law because of the way that the calendar is structured. And it wasn't that way when I first started here 30 years ago. We were able to have, lawyers were able to have a robust practice both in criminal and civil. And I think that there are some calendaring changes that I would make if I were elected that would allow judges or allow lawyers to practice in both arenas. We have fewer lawyers and we have more cases. And with fewer lawyers and more cases, more people are having to represent themselves, and that is not ideal.
Right. Thank you very much. Last but not least, Mr. Harvey.
I better have a good answer, huh? I think part of the problem, thanks. Can anybody hear me? I think part of the problem is not the judges, it's the lawyers, okay? And it's the level of cooperation. In general, the public defenders and the district attorneys in this county and the judges have an incredibly admirable record of cooperating together to get work done in this court. I've seen Judge Place do it when he's had to appear in 2 courts on one day because we were missing a judge or because of conflicts or something. We have a busy court. We live in a county that's kind of unusual. All of a sudden, you go from Mono County to Inyo County, and the criminal filings are double, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's true. But it's one of the reasons we like living in Inyo County, because we don't have a lot of crime on the streets. I think everybody would agree with that, okay? So some of it has to do with the judges, some of it has to do with cooperation with the lawyers, and some of it has to do with the ability of the judge to sort of read the courtroom on any given day. I know you can't sort out. You see 25 people there on a civil calendar, you're not going to go, oh, pick a couple and do them quickly, you know. But it's important that the judge know that. I know Judge Place is aware of that. Other judges we've had in the past, that didn't do it so well, okay? And that's part of the beef. And I think part of the beef with people is coming into court and sitting there and going, why, if I got here early, am I waiting last to go? Thank you.
If the candidates could please, when you hold the microphone, get it a little closer to your mouth, because you guys are going in and out, and even if you're using a big voice like Gerard, it's still hard to hear.
Okay. Thank you.
Vote for me.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to the next question. And this one will be for Taylor. Taylor, you will start for us. The question is, what is your philosophy on recusal? Now, recusal, I had to look this up because I didn't understand what it was. It's conflict of interest, basically. It's conflict of interest in a case, and the recusal is the judge stepping back because of the conflict of interest. So what is your philosophy on recusal and applying it to a rural community? And how do you prevent, this kind of ties into our last question, how do you prevent slowdown with the court process because of recusals in such a small area?
That's a very good question. Right. In my experience, I find that there are two types of recusal. Attorneys recusing judges. I would hope that would stop or be limited. We've had a real problem with that over the past several years. I think the way to stop that is by being a judge who's knowledgeable, consistent in their ruling, fair, and knows how to move a case forward. If the public trusts you and the other attorneys trust you and you're making accurate and consistent decisions, it should limit those recusals. If there is an actual conflict with someone who's in front of you, then there's no question you have to step aside. If we had the court working where the judges are doing civil and criminal at the same time, it may mitigate the lost time. So if we were both working as civil attorneys in the civil case and the criminal case, if you recused one judge in the civil, then I could step in and do the civil. And it wouldn't affect the other calendars. So we wouldn't have to be bringing judges that are outside from the county that we have to pay extra and that aren't accountable to the people of this community. So I think that that is one way that we can save costs and keep the calendar moving.
Fantastic. Okay. Dana, you're up.
So I am required to recuse myself right now as district attorney if I have an actual conflict. And there are legal standards that apply both to myself as district attorney, but also to judges when presented with an actual conflict. So those are cases where you are mandated to recuse yourself. There are also those situations where a judge has to decide, or I have to decide as a district attorney, can I be fair and impartial in this case? Is this a situation where somebody has, if I were elected, if somebody came before me, could I be fair and impartial in hearing that person's case? And if my answer is no, then I can't hear the case and I have to get off, even if I don't have what is one of those technical legal recusals. In a small community, it is difficult because we know one another. You are our community members. The people that come before the court are people that you are likely going to know, or you're going to know a great deal of those people. And so you can't simply recuse yourself. If you can't be in this job if you don't think that you can judge people who you know. You have to be able to set aside your biases and treat those cases fairly and justly.
Great. Okay. Gerard, you're up.
Recusal. It arises mostly, and it will arise mostly in my case and Ms. Crome's case, because we both handle a ton of criminal matters. All right. So were I fortunate enough to gain the seat, then there would be enough cases where I would have to get out because there would be people I represented fairly recently. That's true. There's just no getting around that, right? That happened when Judge Stout took the bench years ago. It's very common for a criminal judge, not so much for a civil judge, because I don't think Mr. Place suffered from that, no disrespect, because he hadn't spent that much time in the criminal calendar. So he didn't have a ton of conflicts when it came to handling the criminal calendar as a judge. Ms. Crome is the current district attorney. I'm the primary public defender. I would have some conflicts right out of the gate. Would I step out of those cases? Definitely. You can't tell people, oh, wait till I become judge. We'll take care of that. That's not how this is done. Okay, you will likely not be able to help them or ever be on their case and may never be able to be on some of those cases. So because of that appearance of a impropriety. So
all right. Great. Okay, next we have. You sure can. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Place.
I first want to just respond to one thing that I heard from Ms. Fitzmaurice. She did indicate that 170.6s, or when a party disqualifies a judge, is problematic. Every party has the opportunity to do that once. So she said it has been problematic in the last couple of years. It has been. I just want to indicate that it has not been related to me. I think in my entire judicial career, 8 years, I've been disqualified maybe twice total, which is an extremely low number. With regard to bias, that is the recusal issue. If you have a bias, you cannot sit on the case. It's pretty obvious. That's if you have actual bias. But there is a code section 170.1 that lists the other criteria. And one is the appearance of bias. One is a person aware of the facts might question your ability to be unbiased. And then there's another one that simply says, in the interest of justice, you think that you should disqualify yourself. So it's not just simply, am I biased? It's what do the people think? You don't want to create a situation where you're ruling in a case where there is the appearance. So it's tricky. It's tricky when you know people. It's tricky when people show up with friends that you know. It's tricky when you see people at stores. You end up making a lot of disclosures saying, I know these people. I still feel like I can be fair and impartial, so I'm going to go ahead and rule in the case. But it's hard. It's very hard in a small town, small community where you know a lot of people.
Great.
And I would just like to confirm that Judge Place is right. I was not referring to you when I said recusing judges and the problem that we had. That is true.
Okay. All right. So next question. We have Ms. Crum.
Yes.
Let's see. How will you ensure impartiality and fairness in your rulings? Pretty general question.
So again, as I said during my opening, this is something that I have to do right now, and that is I have to be fair and impartial when I am reviewing cases and determining whether or not criminal charges should be filed against someone. And in doing that, you have to go back to kind of the basics, and you look at the facts, and you look at the law, and you analyze the facts versus the law to come up with a decision. And you have to do that somewhat blindly. And again, if you can't, if you feel that you have these external biases that are coming in that are clouding your judgment, then you can't handle that case. But the way that you communicate that to the litigants is you make sure that they have an opportunity to be heard. You listen to them, you receive their evidence, you treat them with respect, you insist that they treat each other with respect, so that there aren't any barriers that's preventing you from getting the necessary information and evidence that you need so that you make a fair and just decision. And that's how I would assure the litigants in my court that not only am I applying the law correctly to the facts, but I am also doing so in a respectful manner and I'm giving you the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Harvey?
Fairness in the courtroom. I had spent a career thinking I was treated unfairly. Every case. Until I won a few. And the experience I came back with was that invariably judges, when people take the bench, they have a tendency to move to the center. And I don't know if Judge Place would agree with that reference. Usually when it comes to, oftentimes judges come from the ranks of the prosecution bar. And so all of a sudden they'll say, oh no, we're going to have a right-wing prosecutor. And the prosecutor gets on the bench and he moves right to the center because he recognizes that the world is not left or right, it's center. That's what judges do. They live in the middle, okay? But prosecutors and defense lawyers don't. So we have to modulate, okay? So as I've been going through this process here, running the candidacy, I get up early in the morning, I walk, I think, is there a case I look back on now that if I could have that back from the judge, some judge over the last 30 years, I'd say, my guy really got rooked on that. And I thought to myself, that's not true. It's not true. I've had a good experience. And those judges include Judge Place and Judge Stout and the late Pat Canfield, and the late Don Chapman and the late Lee Cooper, who were all really moderate guys. And I say they're guys because I'm not used to dealing with that when a lot of women judges. But it's a personal thing. It comes with experience. Fairness comes with experience. It's a feeling. You learn it over time.
All right, fantastic. All right, Judge Place, go ahead.
I think this is a good follow-up question to the last question because really how to start off being, how are we going to be fair and impartial? You need to make sure that you don't have a bias. That's number one. And then I think fair and impartial is related to both the process and the evidence. I do a good job treating everybody with respect. I say repeatedly that when I want people to leave the courtroom, they might not like the decision that they get, but I want to make sure that they know they had the opportunity to be heard, that their positions were taken seriously, that any decision that is made is explained to them in a reasonable way, in a clear way, so they at least understand what it is, and they were treated with respect. So regardless of what side they're on, I want to make sure that people are treated the same, and it's my hope that the winning party and losing party both leave the courtroom having or believing that those four things are true.
Yes. All right, Ms. Fitzmaurice, please take it away.
Thank you. I'm primarily a trial attorney. So people come to me when they need help. And I don't judge them. I judge the evidence, the facts, and I apply the law to the evidence and the facts. So my brain doesn't work in having biases or prejudice. I think you could ask most people that have worked with me for a long time, and they couldn't tell you what my political bent is or what biases I have. My bias is people in need. I look at what they need, what the evidence is, and I'm honest about it. I never misrepresent the facts to the court. I never try to wing it or to argue something that is not based in fact. So I look at reasoning and making decisions that are grounded in the law and the facts, not on your personal background.
Okay, great. All right, so the last for the predetermined questions we have, how will you balance being an independent judge and an elected official? So this question is for Mr. Harvey.
I'm confused by the question.
Well, take one time. How will you balance being an independent judge and an elected official?
Is it a suggestion that since we're elected, we're somehow beholden to the electorate? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't think there's any problem with that. And you can't, if you want to become a judge because you have some political bent, then you need to head back home. Okay. You shouldn't be here. All right. If you want to be judged because you want to help people, because you care about helping people, then that's a good ambition. I think everybody sitting at this table, except for the moderator, he's a nice enough guy himself, is cares about people. They wouldn't want to do this. I hear Taylor's voice. I've been a public defender now for 12 and 5 years, almost 17 years, and I love it. I absolutely love what I do. Some people say, well, why would you want to be judge? I said, because it is different. I think I could take the experience I've had as a public defender and use it to assist people as a judge as well, too. So I respect everyone here at this table, whoever wins this election. I'm just glad to be here and proud I can participate in this the election. Thanks.
Right. Mr. Place, you're up.
I can tell you as a judge that one of the shocking things that happens when you become a judge, it is a very difficult transition from attorney to judge. You think differently. The role is very different. Even though it seems like you're doing the same thing, law related, it is shockingly different. You don't get any training before day one. And then the first training that you go to is called new judge orientation. Typically, you're doing that about 3 or 4 months after you start the job. And one of the first presentations you get basically has the message that sends to you, if you're not willing to make the right decision on a particular day because you're concerned that you're going to get reelected in 6 years, don't take the job. It isn't the job for you. You have to make the decision you need to make regardless of what the impact is going to be, how people are going to look at you. It has to be the right decision. So if you're concerned about the election, if you're concerned about how people are going to look at you the next day, it's not the job. So it's tough, but that is the business, and that is what needs to happen.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Ms. Fitzmaurice.
Well, to be honest, I never really considered this an elected official position. The first I heard that. And I suppose it should have been obvious, but it wasn't to me. Because I look at this as a job that I have been trained to do, working toward, and that I'm dedicated and committed to. I look at this as being hired. Who's most qualified to understand the law, to apply the law? Being independent, the law gives you that. The law is our guide. You follow the statute, you follow the reasoning, you follow the rule of law, and you apply it to the facts. That's what I'm focused on. So I'm not concerned that I'm not going to be independent because I'm somewhat of a nerdy person. I have done well in school, I've studied hard, I work really long hours. My hobby is reading cases and writing. And I know that sounds strange, but I get my enjoyment from reading and writing, and that guides my decisions.
Okay. Ms. Crom, go ahead.
Can you reread the question?
Yes. How will you balance being an independent judge and an elected official?
Likewise, while this is an election, and that's why we're all here tonight, is to sell ourselves to the voters and allocate to support us. It is an interesting elected position because, as been echoed by everybody at this table, you have an obligation to act fairly and justly and to look at each case based on the facts of that case and not based on what you think the electorate is going to do if you rule one way versus the other. And I look at this also as this is what we do as lawyers. And as lawyers and as the DA, I am required to analyze these cases and represent people. And as a judge, my job would be to make sure that justice is administered fairly to everyone in my courtroom. And it's based on the information and the evidence that I have heard and the law, and not be concerned with what happens when I walk out that courtroom and whether or not somebody is going to re-elect me or not. That's not my concern.
Okay. All right. So that does it with the predetermined questions. We are now going to take a 10-minute break. We have refreshments in the back there. During that 10-minute break, if you guys have some questions, please write it on those index cards over there. We're going to be going through them right now during the break, and we're going to determine which ones we're going to ask within the time that we have. So go ahead. Let's take our break. So say really quick that this is my third time moderating. I realized that it was kind of unprofessional. I'm really sorry about that.
No.
Okay, because I was like afterwards, well, I should be saying this is very unprofessional. Okay.
First names are back.
I came from doing barbecued over here, so I wasn't thinking about it. Okay, great. Okay, got it. That's what I thought about it. Right. Going.
Right. We're just broken by no, but that was
I think I still have.
There you go. Like, here, I was like, this is interesting. No, that was fun. Good.
Let's go.
I'm talking about it. I'm sorry. This year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Apparently, the other person is distracted.
What?
There's yeah, she's not here.
We need 4 questions.
Yep. I've kind of been. A couple of these were all very much the same, so I've just stacked them together.
So we're gonna do audience questions for this. I'm also gonna do like, okay, I'm gonna do one more conversation.
I was happy with
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I certainly don't know.
Pick up which one of those. Those 3 are all essentially the same. See which one you think is worded the best.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Is there more over there? I know.
Okay, just simpler. One.
Like what?
I like that one. Okay. Addressing candidates.
They're running 2 boards at the same time. And I just wait.
So essentially,
That's good. So these 2 questions. So already.
no, these are the ones I just. Read that one. It's rather out there, but I do like it. I don't know. Okay. I was gonna do so much. Read that one. I really like this.
We need just a little bit more time, so take a break. We're going to be up there in just a second.
I'm wondering if is that too much of a.
You like it?
No, I think
You said no. You don't like it. I kind of like it. Following the law is not. It doesn't.
I like this one. I like that one.
Necessary.
How do you currently your decision in this role?
Okay. So wait, where was the other one?
We got 3.
Those ones there.
Those? I think a minute. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We'll go a little more because we said we wouldn't go.
We got plenty of time. We're doing okay.
So this one, why has the grand jury
Appointed after the election.
Okay.
So those are the, I really like that one, but I'm also I like
sense to just. That's actually a good one. I think that's better than that.
You can put in that one? Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. What should I do with these? I don't want to necessarily throw them away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case I need backups.
I will.
Okay, if you guys can return to your seats, we're going to get started in just a second.
Put it back.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
What we'll do is when we're through the questioning, you guys can hang around for a bit. If anybody's listening. What? Are you trying to get everybody's attention? Would you like everybody to take their seat?
Okay, so now I gotta see how I'm gonna structure this. The question. Oh, yes, I will actually. Okay, so before we get started, Judge Place actually brought something up to my attention that I thought was very important. We don't have the way this is working is we have 2 seats available, and there's 1 seat here, and these 2 gentlemen are running against each other for that 1 seat. It's and then the other seat are these 2 individuals right here. So we currently have Judge Riso.
Yes.
Yeah, Judge Riso is in office right now, but she is not running again. So they are going for her position. That's why she's not here. And then Judge Place is running for the position he's currently in. And so is Mr. Harvey. So that's how that's working. I noticed there was a little bit of confusion with that. So does that clear that up? Does anybody have any questions with that? Okay. All right. So now we are going to move on to the audience questions. All right. So we will start. Mr. Harvey, we'll start with you. So I'm going to read the question and give you some time to think about it. So the court often, yes.
This is not a difficult decision, the ones we picked.
Oh yeah, these were great questions. There was a lot of different questions, but yeah, I thought these were the ones that, or we thought these were the ones that stood out the best. So, Mr. Harvey, the court often has limited resources. What strategies would you use to impose or to improve access to justice while working within budget constraints? I'll read that one more time. The court often has limited resources. What strategies would you use to improve access to justice while working within budget constraints? And we're also going to do a minute and a half again for these questions.
That's a really good question. That's budget consideration, lack of services are kind of at the top of all our lawyers and the judges list. We have pretty good probation department and we have pretty good health and human services office here, but they are limited. We do not have good counseling service here overall in the county. We have some, but they're limited because of where we live. You guys are familiar with these issues. We live in a remote spot, so we don't always have what we need. So it takes some creativity. And I think it takes a situation where the judges are cautious to use the resources they have very wisely and to make sure that probation and health and human services do the same thing. So that when you're putting money towards some issues that are lost causes, whereas others are more manageable and more workable. One good one is the drug court, it seems to me, but that costs health and human services money and probation time as well, and takes up the judge's time as well too. But it pays back because it helps improve the community. It slows down the hopefully, the criminality of some of the community. As most folks know around here, and all the judge candidates are aware that most criminal work around here is drug and alcohol related misdemeanor stupidity. If we could eliminate that, we could eliminate a lot of problems. So you have to be more creative. We have to be more, think of better ways to use the resources we've had.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, Judge Place, if you could, please.
And if you could clarify, is it court budget and court resources, or is it community resources, or?
I think it's referring specifically to the court. Yes.
Court resources are tight. Staff is a huge portion of our budget, and we're always limited with getting more staff, more clerks. We're working the clerks as efficiently as we can now. But I think that the resources that are really limiting some of the decisions we have to make are the building, how busy the judges are, and staff. And it's really, really difficult. We're in court almost every day. We have almost every day slotted for a particular case. So it's resources. It's not just money, but it's time, it's staff, it's the building. And creativity is the key. There's always room for improvement, but it's tough.
Okay, fantastic. All right, Ms. Fitzmaurice, if you could, please.
Well, obviously, living in a rural community, we're all familiar with having limited resources. But I don't think that we have limited work ethic. I think that we can accomplish a lot by being prepared, by being organized, and working hard. We have 2 courthouses. We have 2 judges. One of my proposals is that we are maximizing the resources that we do have. So we're maximizing using the Independence Court and the Bishop Courthouse. That we are having judges work all day, but also having time to be in their office so they can write decisions and get to rulings more quickly. I would propose that both judges are working the civil and criminal calendar, and that both judges are working on the same days, one in Bishop, one in Independence, in order to move cases quickly or more efficiently. I also think that we should maximize the use of Zoom. It's always better to be in person, but it is a large community, a large county. People have to take time off work, get childcare. It's difficult to get all of the public defenders to be in Independence or to be in Bishop. So I think using, maximizing the use of courthouse and using Zoom and having both judges serving as civil and criminal is one way to maximize the resources we do have.
All right, Ms. Crum, if you could, please.
Thank you. 2 things. First, I would echo on the resources, and one thing that we have to figure out and learn is what are the community resources that are available to the court, because we do have a lot of outside community partners that can provide services to the court, and sometimes we don't have a complete list and we aren't tapping into those resources that can assist the court in the provision of services. So that's one thing that I think is critical in a community like ours where we do have limited resources. With respect to court resources, I think it's important for the court to recognize that there are barriers, particularly for our more rural communities. I was just out in Tacoma and heard the nightmare stories of people not having phone service, not having a reliable way to get to court or to even communicate with the court. And so having a place where somebody can go so that they can access Zoom, that they can access their attorneys electronically or through telephone or Zoom, so that we can move cases along efficiently. And I think that is one of the things that we can do in focusing in our remote areas and maximize the court's budget.
All right. Okay, next question will be for Judge Place. What distinguishes your approach to being a judge from the other candidates? What distinguishes your approach to being a judge from the other candidates?
Besides my experience doing the job, I would say that my approach was shaped by my career. It was largely civil related, not criminal related. So I did a lot of family law work. I did small business work. I did estate planning, probate, almost anything that would walk in the door except for criminal. I also did a lot of juvenile dependency, delinquency work. So I would say that my approach, having worked almost 25 years in those areas, was really a practical approach, a problem-solving approach. I wanted to be the best advocate I could be for my clients, yet giving them practical advice so that things didn't get bogged down, expensive, time-consuming. So I would say that I have a really practical approach. I did as an attorney, and I think I have a practical approach as a judge as well.
Okay. Next. Ms. Fitzmaurice.
Oh, next with our Georgia.
Yeah. We're just going to keep going this way.
I think that I am distinguished from the other candidates because I am actually in the courtroom working every day on the side of people. I'm not limited to one office. I'm working multiple cases across the board. So I'm not in one office. I'm not just doing prosecutions or doing criminal, or I'm doing civil and criminal. And I'm working with individuals, with families, with businesses. I advocate for them. I understand what they're going through. I understand the difficulties that they face. I stand next to them in some of the most difficult days of their lives. And I pull them through challenging, really traumatic experiences sometimes. And it gives me insight into what it's like to be that person over there. And I think that's really important. If you're going to be a judge and you're making rulings that affect the people who are standing there, it's important to know how they feel. They're intimidated. They're stressed. They are having everyday difficult problems, from money problems, relationship problems, children problems, business problems. And I hear that and I work with that every day. And I think that gives me more insight in order to have compassion, yet hold people accountable when need be.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
So for 30 years, I have practiced in a variety of areas of law in this county. I have represented governmental agencies. I represented special districts. I represented children. I represented parents. I represented the people of the state of California. I represented defendants. I have represented my community members and interests of my community members from the far reaches of the county all the way out into Sandy Valley, Death Valley, Humboldt Canyon, all the way north to Inyo County. I have a very unique perspective in that I have been all over this county. I have engaged with community members throughout the 10,000 square miles of Inyo County. I have represented their interests. I have been important with them, and I have advocated on their behalf. That is what sets me apart from the other candidates. I have an extensive practice in civil law. I have an extensive practice in family law. I have an extensive practice in juvenile law, and I have an extensive practice in criminal law. That is what makes me different. And that's what makes my experience the most unique in coming to the court, is I have the ability to handle any case that comes before me. I also have a deep connection to this county. I was raised here. You are my people. I came back here so that I could serve my community members.
Right.
Can you read the question again?
Yes, absolutely. What distinguishes your approach to being a judge from the other candidates?
Primarily, I've been a criminal defense lawyer my whole career. I usually handle about 1,000 cases a year. On any given Monday, on Bishop, all day long, the primary criminal defense lawyer is me. On Tuesday, you go to independence, and all day long, the primary criminal defense lawyer is me. I handle most of the cases. On Wednesday, I handle the arraignment, calendar and Bishop. I handle all the cases. On Wednesday afternoon is Spanish speaker day usually, and I handle about half the cases. And on Thursday, if it's a criminal day, we go back to independent and I handle most of the cases again, unless it's every other Thursday. Then half the time I'm in front of the juvenile calendar or the 300 calendar. Now, I don't do that right now because Judge Place handles it, and there's a conflict between he and I. It's a professional thing. It's not a personal thing, but people would say that we cannot sit on the same cases for the time being, so we don't, okay? But we do our best to not create a mess of it, okay? But I guess the bottom line is I distinguish myself because of my criminal experience, okay? When you want to settle cases in a criminal court and you go in chambers, if you ask the judge, if the judge doesn't have any criminal experience, it's hard for them to opine on whether or not it's a good DUI or it's a good murder or it's just a good old traffic ticket, okay? So I guess what I'm saying is, as opposed to all the other candidates, I have the most criminal trial experience, and I think that counts for a lot in a county like this and would help a lot with this perceived idea about too many jury trials.
All right. Okay, next question. Yes, we got through everybody. All right, next question is for Ms. Fitzmaurice. If you were running two courts at the same time and there is an attorney with both types of clients, which court waits, criminal or civil? I'll read that one more time. If you were running two courts at the same time and there's an attorney with both types of clients, which court waits, criminal or civil?
Well, it depends because there are time limits for a lot of cases. So if it's a criminal case and there's a time limit, then it goes first. There are also time limits for domestic violence cases and they take precedence. So it depends on what the issue is. I think that in our court, one thing that we have done effectively is that even though it could be a civil day, but there's a criminal matter that needs to be heard, we will step out and the court will sometimes zoom a judge in and handle that matter. And the civil attorneys understand that it takes precedence. We also understand that certain domestic violence cases, we are on strict guidelines, and if people don't waive them, then that takes precedence. And so I think that the court, we have to follow those rules, and I think that we've all been very respectful of that. There are many times I am sitting in a hallway, I'm in the middle of the case, and there's this criminal case that has to go, and I step outside with my client, and we wait it out until they get the time that they need. And I think that we respect that. And I have not seen that in this court to be to cause conflict or cause problems.
Okay. All right, take it away.
There is a hierarchy on cases and cases that have priority over other cases. And you kind of start with exactly what you would think, those that are the most important or those that include the most loss of liberty, so to speak. And so criminal cases usually do take priority over general civil cases. Juvenile cases are actually at the top of that. And if you have a juvenile dependency or delinquency case, that's going to sideline the civil lawyers. It's going to sideline some of the criminal lawyers too. And so the law actually does indicate which cases have priority over others. It's also incumbent for the attorneys to indicate with the court and the parties as to whether or not this criminal case that needs to be heard when a civil case is being heard, it really needs priority. You're continuing it if it is a status conference, if it is something that is not a materially important issue, you really don't want to sideline that civil case if you can sit and wait until the civil case is over before you hear yours. So some of it is common sense, but some of it is mandated by law that we have to hear. And obviously, we want to get children out of there first because we don't need kids hanging around the courtroom any longer than we need to.
All right. Want to read the question again?
Sure. So if you were running two courts at the same time and there's an attorney with both types of clients, which court waits, criminal or civil?
I'm not going to beat a dead horse. My colleagues have said all you can say about this issue. The classic way you see it is when I have a criminal client is charged with a domestic violence charge. Let's say a misdemeanor domestic violence charge. He got in a fight with his wife. And it's also the wife is gone and the girlfriend has gone and sought a civil restraining order. So I've got the case down in Independence on a Tuesday, and Judge Place has got the civil case on the same day in Bishop because the wife has gone in and sought a civil restraining order. I'm not being critical of the parties here by my example, all right? And so what happens is the criminal case takes precedence because in a criminal case, you have a right against self-incrimination. So you can't force the guy in a criminal case to go testify in the civil case, in the civil case up in Bishop. That's the issue, okay? The right against self-incrimination holds everyone hostage, and rightly so, all right? You can't force the defendant to testify. So the judge, in this case, Judge Place, when he has the civil case, when the lawyer comes in and says, I want a continuance, he doesn't have much choice, no disrespect, but to say you're entitled to it because the criminal case controls. So that's just the way it is.
All right.
I guess my answer would be it really depends. A lot of times it would depend on, for example, whether it's a 3-hour hearing in a family law case or whether it's a 10-minute hearing in a criminal case or what kind of hearing it is in a criminal case. I can tell you on any given day, I can tell you where all the attorneys are. I can tell you what their schedules are. I can tell you what calendars they're handling. And a lot of times it's simply a matter of cooperation with the attorneys. The attorneys will let the clerks know I've got a hearing at 10 in Moto and we'll take a break. And it's kind of like that game where you're trying to fit all the pieces in, and it's difficult. But so the answer is it's not as simple as saying civil's always going to wait for criminal. It's making the pieces work, and I think we do a pretty good job. One of the problems that we have in Inyo is there's one courtroom in Bishop, there's one courtroom in Independence. So unlike Mono, where they have the ability to run 3 courtrooms at the same time, you never have a building where the 2 attorneys are in the same building at the same time. So it's always going to be a Zoom appearance or some kind of juggling. But I think the judges do a pretty good job with the attorneys. You get very used to where everybody's going to be, what the calendars are, how long it takes, and with the cooperation of the attorneys, it really does work out pretty good.
All right, we got one question left, and for this one, Ms. Crom will be starting.
Okay.
All right, so what is your feeling and position regarding bail? Do you think it's necessary, and how do your current beliefs lead your decision in this role? So one more time, what is it?
I'm going to poll my colleagues. I'm concerned that we are not able to address this question
Agreed.
because we can't prejudge a matter,
Okay.
and by discussing how we feel about bail.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's why you guys are the candidates and not me. Let me pull from my backups. Okay, well, here's a good one. Why has the grand jury not been active for the past 2 years?
That's a perfect question for me. I'll take it.
All right.
So I've been an advisor for the grand jury in my time at the district attorney's office and also in the county counsel's office. And I would say the primary reason is we don't have volunteers. So while you can kind of force people to be on a grand jury, the grand jury commitment time is extensive, and nobody really wants to do that. And so without people volunteering to sit on the grand jury, we can't impanel a grand jury. And it's really unfortunate. I've spoken about this recently to some community groups, encouraging people. I'm hopeful that the court and our Supervisor Rattleton is in the back, can engage in some public outreach. But I encourage each and every one of you to consider volunteering to be on the grand jury. It is a wonderful opportunity. It's a great experience. The grand jury is incredibly important to local government. We need to have a grand jury. So yes, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, Mr. Harvey.
You want to make us all answer that same question?
Absolutely.
I'm just going to echo Ms. Crome's sentiments. I don't have a lot of experience with the grand jury. Respectfully, my experience with the grand jury is not that positive about the work they've done. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Judge, please.
So I became a judge in 2018. Judge Lamb was the other judge at that time. He was the presiding judge. He primarily handled all the grand jury recruitment, applications, things like that. Then COVID hit. And all of a sudden the grand jury, we were in the middle of a grand jury. They couldn't meet anymore. They couldn't complete their work. And then it really disrupted the system for a couple of years. We didn't have a grand jury. And then we did once COVID stopped again. In 2021, I became the presiding judge. I became responsible for the recruitment. But as Ms. Crome said, if the people aren't willing to volunteer, if you can't get 11 people from the county to volunteer for the grand jury, it's a problem. But that was the problem. We sent out letters. We had radio ads. We contacted all the grand jury members previously to see if they could talk to friends, relatives, neighbors. Radio ads. We put a video on our website. 11 people. 11 people in the county are needed to act as grand jury, and it was just problematic to get 11 people to do the job. And so I think it is a matter of getting people motivated to do the job. So it's a great question, and all of you can take this back to friends, neighbors, relatives, and say, let's get 11 people together and have a grand jury this year.
All right. All right.
Well, I have to say I feel pretty bad because I signed up to be on the grand jury and no one contacted me. So I'm not sure why, but I think it's an important process. And I think it can do a lot of good work. Obviously, as a private attorney, I'm not involved in selecting or coordinating it. But when I received a letter in the mail, I did apply and send my name in and didn't hear. But I figured it was because maybe I was too well known as an attorney and nobody wanted me. But I think it's a great idea, and I would encourage people to participate and perhaps we send the letters out and try again.
Steve wants to say something. She's going to stop you, Steve.
I just wanted to say one thing in response. No offense to Ms. Fitzmaurice, but when you get 7 applications and you know you're not going to get 11 people, that's a little bit problematic. So no offense.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What I want to say is, we want people to volunteer to be on a grand jury. I did, but I'm an elected official with the school board and I'm not eligible. Okay, so if you're in any elected position in the county, don't apply. I was very bummed.
I did apply and I did not get.
Huh?
I did apply and I did not get.
You didn't get it?
Nope.
Huh.
Are you in an elected position?
Nope. Maybe you want to be.
There you go.
I understand.
It might be helpful if you get 7 to at least let those 7 know that we need 3 more.
I agree.
And
Communication.
that's what, we respond and we can.
Yeah, I'll take that back to our clerk who handles that. I was expecting that did happen, and I guess it's interesting to know that it didn't. So I'll take that into account.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, Ms. Crom. Or wait, did I started with you? Okay, so that was it. That's right. Okay, so instead of it ending right here, do you guys want to do do you guys have anything else that you'd like to say to the crowd before we end? I was going to do 1 minute of just anything else you guys wanted to add before we wrapped up. 30 seconds.
Ask for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
3 words. Vote for me.
All right, there's your 30 seconds.
There you go.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'll just echo what I started with. I have 8 years of experience doing the job and doing the job well. You don't have to believe me. Do your due diligence. Talk to your neighbors, friends, relatives about what they've seen in the courtroom. My hope is that you will hear positive things about me doing my job. I think those 8 years are invaluable, and I think it would be a tremendous benefit to the county to keep me in the position.
Okay.
And I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I really love this community. When I moved here, I did not have very much. And I had 3 kids and nothing else. But this community really supported me. And I was able to work very hard and make a career and do well here. I raised my 3 children. They're all doing well. And I'm grateful to everyone here and to this whole community for supporting my family, supporting me, and giving me this opportunity. And I don't think you'll find a person who works harder than I do. And I ask to give me a chance and to prove myself because I am a very hard worker and I love the law and I will be fair and impartial.
Again, I want to echo that I truly appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you, Sandy, even her crew for putting this together. This is the opportunity for everyone to hear from the candidates. And Judge Price said, I urge you to do your homework, talk to people. If you aren't involved in the court system, congratulations, but maybe you want to talk to people that are involved in the court system to get their take on this. This is where I was raised. This is my community. I came back here intentionally to practice law and to practice with a purpose. So thank you for your support.
All right. Okay, thank you guys very much.
I would like to thank everybody who showed up for the forum. I'm just pleased to see that we have so many community members here. And a special thank you for the delegates that are running for the authors. And if you want to just hang around, we made another pot of coffee. You can all you want, okay? Thank you guys so very, very much. Huh?
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, go bingo. Yes, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do that in front of the business. I'm trying. I'm a contractor. That's what Yes. Good. All right. Thank you. All right. Appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know where I know him from. Yeah, I did my best. I think I got it. Huh? All right. All right. Well, thank you guys. Yeah. Hey, man. I'm Will. Will, where do I know you from? I'm. All right. Yeah. Okay, from way back in the day then. Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. We just covered up. A long time ago. So I grew up in Big Pine. Okay. Did a decade in the Navy. And my dad owned the first company. Oh, like before Roger? Yeah. Oh, okay. Forever ago. Yeah. So yeah. Wonderful. I'm sure we met in one of those a long time ago. Yeah. But I was Okay. I think we both were. But anyway. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. Have a good one. Yeah. You too. I read about it. Improvise mornings. Like, all right, good thing I have you back. Well, yeah.